I'm Tania Gustafson, award-winning nutritionist, behavior specialist, and certified mental wellness coach on a mission to help midlife women move from barely surviving to thriving. You have been lied to. Weight gain, mood swings, hot flashes, brain fog, despite what the world and even your doctor may have told you, do not have to be your story. You are not broken. You've just never been shown how to fuel your body in a way that creates hormonal balance. Fit Woman Podcast is where we expose the lies and share all things to help women take back control of their health, hormones, weight, and mental wellness and thrive through midlife. I'm so glad you're here. Hello, thanks for joining me here today on the podcast. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you're watching from. Today, I'm super excited to have a friend and health professional here with me today, local from Kelowna. I'm super excited to have you all meet Ellen Reimer. She is a registered counselor and a life coach. She helps women heal from their past pain, overcoming limiting beliefs, and reclaiming their confidence. So definitely fits with our thriving movement here, right? So Ellen, thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me on, Tanya. It's an honor.
You're so welcome. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your niche? Who are you serving most? Who do you see most?
Good question. I work with men and women, but I work a lot with women that are feeling stuck in life, feeling like they have lost a sense of who they are. So it might be moms that feel like motherhood kind of, as wonderful as motherhood is, that kind of took over and they go like, who am I? Just women that are feeling completely overwhelmed with life stresses and everything that life throws at us, right? And also people that are struggling with things from the past that all of a sudden like to come popping up on us and say, hello, I'm here. And we go, how did I get here? And all this stuff that feels like baggage. And how do I work through it?
Okay, that's a lot. I mean,
yeah.
My goodness, those are big shoulders you have to carry all of that for these women. So how long have you been doing this?
I've been doing it about 8 years now. That sounds like a long time, but
as you get close to the decade mark, it's a long time. We can start measuring decades, right?
Right?
Oh my goodness. And so what brought you into the counseling field?
Honestly, that would be a lot of my own journey. A lot of my own journey, that struggling with my own insecurities. I remember standing in my kitchen one day and I just tears running down my cheeks and I just cried out like, who am I? And it was that kind of started my journey into really going, I can't keep living like this. I was a single mom of 4 boys and it's like, I need to be more of a person, more of a woman for these, more of a mom for these humans that I'm raising, and just to show up more as myself in the world. And so I started the journey to figure out who am I and to answer that question. And a lot of it took looking into the past and healing from the things that were hard and messy. Was it pretty? Absolutely not. But I'd say that that's what got me here today.
Yeah. And it's, often our strengths now come from our struggles before.
They really do.
And I heard a wise person once say, I was on with a women's group once, and she said, we are best situated to serve the person we once were.
Yeah.
And that perfectly describes you, what you just said, right?
Yeah. I couldn't agree with it more. Like, it's just so true.
Yeah. It's that life experience, and you can just identify with that woman as opposed to her going to somebody who's just like, doing a checklist of what she should be.
Yeah. And I'm sure you probably have the same thing in your own world and the work that you do, that it's like our pain often becomes where we give out of.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you find that a lot of women think that they are like, that it's only them, that it's just me, like you in the kitchen crying? You just feel like it's only me. Like, what's wrong with me? There's like nobody else I know is going through this, right? Like nobody in the world is just me.
100%. I completely thought that, like, no one else is so messed up as I am. or as so insecure as I am.
Yeah.
And yet I hear it so many times in my office, like people, we're all there together. We all have our messes. They look different, but we
Mm,
all have it.
yeah. So what percentage of you would you say of the women who come to you that they've said, "Oh yeah, it just felt like it was just me."
Oh, I would say that probably over half.
Yeah. I was just
Yeah,
curious
probably over
because
half.
I know, like, we didn't talk about that, but earlier, but I was just thinking because there's, like I said, so many women who think it's just them. And,
Yeah.
part of what I try and instill in women too is like, it's not just you. You need to realize that there's a whole other community of people out there just like you. And, that you
Totally.
can get help, right?
Yeah. And it's interesting, Tanya, is that I was so after that moment in the kitchen, I
Hmm.
actually phoned my older sister, and she had been kind of like, hey, for quite a while, hey, there's this personal growth conference thing that you should come to. And I was like, nope, nope, nope. I just was a hard pass on it. But I phoned her and I was like, I'm not going, but just tell me about it. Anyway, I went. And it was in one of this. So we went for a week and we were with like 100 other people together. And then a month later, we'd go back for a weekend and a month later for another weekend. And it was in one of those weekends that we did an exercise. And I mean, there's obviously a lot of pieces moving up to this, but in that exercise, they had us walk through the room, look in each other's eyes, and say the things to the other person that we say to ourselves.
Ooh.
Ooh, it was hard, and there wasn't very many dry eyes in the room. And if we did stop walking because we were done, they'd come and prod us a little bit, like keep going. So I went into that exercise with a couple different things. No one else struggles like I do. Like no one else feels as ugly or as fat or as disgusting or as like I had so many awful, awful names for myself. Like they really were just horrific things that I was saying to myself. But I also, my takeaway from that exercise was, wow, everyone else in this room has a negative voice. Everyone else is struggling. Like some of the things, like I think, like a really good-looking men, successful men, beautiful women, people from all different walks of life came up to me and said things that are non-repeatable.
Yeah.
And so I came away from there. My personal takeaway was, wow, everyone has this. So if that's the case, how can I then walk into a room and give gold instead of pulling myself back and saying, I'm not worth anything? Can
Right.
I not then walk in and go, someone else has that negative voice, so can I hush mine and give good? And it changed it for me. It
Wow.
just, it just changed it for me.
Oh, wow. Oh, I've got chills. Wow. Oh, that is just so awesome. That is an interesting exercise,
It was a very interesting exercise.
right? Oh
I
my.
think their takeaway, what they wanted us to understand from it is how exhausting it can be. Like the mood in the room, the energy level was like completely at the bottom. They had to put dance music on and say, okay, now let's dance to get
Oh
the
my gosh,
mood
I
back up
bet.
again. See?
And I just see from that um there people are like, well, I would never say that to somebody. So then there's that wake up call of what have I been saying to myself? I think sometimes we allow that voice to just go on repeat and we don't even realize kind of that we're allowing that to happen, that it's actually the same as us saying that to somebody else because we're just being bombarded with it over and over.
We really are.
Yeah, and when you put it in that perspective, it's like, oh, well, now you've got to take that and tell it to somebody else. It'd be like, I would be mortified. I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, I would. It's just, and then we start feeling those things. Right? I can just imagine
Yeah.
if that was me. I'd be like, oh my gosh. But we all have that stuff, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's a really cool piece. And so I'm. It's interesting how that flips the switch right away for people, right?
Yeah, it really does. And it did for me. It was a night and day difference. Because then a person can go from feeling really insecure and going, how do I walk into this room? Like everyone I'm sure thinks that I'm ugly or they're criticizing me. It's not the case at all.
Right.
We're so aware of our own flaws, but other people aren't necessarily thinking that. But if I can then take, instead of looking inward at myself and my own insecurities, can I look outward and go, what can I give today? And it just makes such a difference. It
Yeah.
takes the focus off of our own flaws and looking at other people and getting curious.
Yeah. Yes, that's really interesting. Getting curious about other people because we tend to think everyone's thinking about us, but really no one's thinking about us. Everyone's thinking about themselves.
Yeah. Everyone's thinking about themselves and their own insecurities and their own flaws,
Yeah.
what they perceive as flaws.
Exactly. That's the best way to put that. What they perceive as flaws, because what they might perceive as a flaw of themselves would be someone else is like, oh my gosh, I can't even do that.
Yeah.
It's a strength to somebody else, right? And it's, I don't know, they say, right, if you put everyone's problems in a pile in front of you, you'd probably take your own back. Something like
Exactly.
that.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that one's way worse than mine. I want mine back.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. I don't want yours, please. I'll take mine.
Right?
At least mine is familiar to me.
That's the thing. And women get so stuck in just because, well, this is familiar and that's unknown, even if this isn't a good place. Do you find that?
Yeah.
Hmm. Do you find
I
more
do.
with women than men?
Sorry, say that again.
Do you find that more with women or men? I know you work mostly with women, but I know you've got a couple of men in there, right?
Yeah, I would say that it's the same, a lot of it. It just how we handle it is different. How men had moved through it and how women move through it is different. But definitely I've seen those insecurities. And back to that conference room, it was interesting how many men had such negative things to say.
Wow. Yeah, interesting, right? Hmm. Okay. So what does it actually look like to get back that confidence after going through a life crisis like or a big change like that, something like that?
To be honest, I'd say that it's one step at a time. It's kind of like they say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite
Mm.
at a time, kind of a weird saying, but
Right.
um, learning to trust yourself, learning to trust that gut instinct. It's putting yourself, doesn't mean that getting that confidence doesn't mean you're going to go stand on the stage and speak to 10,000 people. It means one little step today,
Hmm.
one little step tomorrow. It means looking at yourself and showing up as the best version of you today. And also looking at like what is that pain and how can it be processed and turned into the gold? I
Oh,
often use that term, like how can it be turned into something beautiful?
okay. Nice. So
I
how,
like, go
so
ahead.
sorry, go ahead, finish off.
Well, I was just thinking of that story about, and I'm gonna kind of probably butcher it a little bit, but it's a Japanese or Chinese story about the pottery and how when it breaks and they mold it back together,
Hmm.
they mold it back together with gold, it makes it more like you can now have this jar of pottery,
Oh.
one that's not blemished at all, or one that's put back together with gold. Which one actually would you go to?
Oh, I see, right? You don't see the flaws on the inside now because it's covered. Because it's
Well,
repaired. Because
and,
it's
and
repaired, it's fixed, yeah.
those cracks are put back together with gold and it's got all these unique designs on it, right?
Oh, I see. So I get it. I thought it was like covered in it, but it's pieced back together. Yeah,
Pieced back together, but it's unique. It's
right. That's an interesting way of looking at things for sure. So how can women like begin that journey of healing? They don't even like, they have no idea where to start. How do they get started?
um seek out support. That would be my first thought for someone is like find someone that you trust, whether it be a mentor, a friend, a counselor, a coach,
Mhm.
someone that can walk alongside you and be your cheerleader. That's always my first thought to people is, and also getting really, really curious. Get
Okay.
curious with yourself, get curious with your experience, get curious with the pain.
Like curious how like what can I learn from this or what is it teaching me? That sort of curious, like instead of just sitting in it and wallowing in it,
Yeah.
discover what you can do with it or what can come from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
How can I just get curious about this moment and what can come from it? And another example that is kind of another strange one, but I had a friend years ago. I was in a pretty negative spot in my life, and she looked at me one day and she's like, Ellen, what do pigs do? I was kind of taken aback. It's like, what are you getting at?
Right.
Like, I guess they wallow in mud puddles. Yeah, she says, and then what? Well, I guess their mud puddle gets pretty stinky. Yeah, she says, and your puddle's getting pretty stinky.
Oh,
And she was such a dear friend, wise friend. Like I could totally take it from her. I
right.
knew she meant the best for me, but it really made me stop and think. And so I got curious with it and went, huh, like I have been sitting in this puddle, and what would it be like to get out of it?
Yeah.
What does that look like, and how could I get out of it? Like, okay, acknowledging, yeah, I'm sitting in it. But what does that look like to get out of it? How can I? What is one step that I could take today? Just
Mhm.
one step that I could take. And what do I need right now to? And then I had a friend a couple of years later say, so what if you started to play in the mud puddle? Like if you're in it, or what if it's not as deep as you think it is? So again, curiosity.
Yeah. All good perspectives I've never thought about. Interesting.
So
So, all right, what's something that you've noticed about women that has changed or shifted over the last few years with your coaching? It's a big,
um I would say that women are probably, there's more of a wanting to lean into that authenticity of being themselves. However, I would also say that there's like with social media being out there, um, and so many people are on that, and it's telling us a way we should be, that a lot of women are struggling with needing to feel like they can portray that social media life, that highlight reel, when behind the scenes there's so much underneath what's really happening at home or inside their hearts or is just hurt, right?
mm,
So wanting to lean into that authenticity, but also that people pleasing and that desire to show this highlight reel of life and yet not being able to feel like you're actually doing it.
I
Does that
find,
make sense?
yeah, I think, I think it's a woman thing almost, like we want
Mhm.
to make, make that, facade or whatever, the outward facing portrayal of, that everything's good, that I'm a good mom, I'm a good wife, I can keep my house, like I can do all the things. And then when something's not quite up to snuff or whatever, we're just like, oh, I don't want anyone to see that. I can't, what happens if they see that? It's just like, and then it starts cascading. It's kind of like that all or nothing, right? I have to be 100% perfect.
Yeah.
When they themselves would then tell other people, well, nobody's perfect.
Mhm.
I run into clients like that all the time. And so we talk about being all in at 1% because you're never going to be 100% of the time. But you can do 1% more today than you did yesterday in any area of your life, right? It's applicable anywhere. And so, and then all of a sudden, I don't know, maybe you found the same, but I'll just see like the light bulb go on in their eyes. It's like, oh, okay. And then they can kind of realize that it's okay. But yeah, there is a lot. I know that a lot of women that I personally have talked to are
Yeah.
gravitating more towards those social media platforms that are sharing their struggles, that are kind of, cracking open the curtain or whatever and just letting
Yeah.
people see that, hey, I'm not perfect. Like my house is a disaster back there. My kids are running around like insane. Now what, And they're just kind of
Exactly.
sharing their journey as a real person. And I think we need more of that, um, just so we don't end up in that isolation box like you were in that room thinking it's just me and it's, all of that. Because
Yeah.
very easy place to go to.
It really is an easy place to go to, and yet it's it's just not what is real.
Yeah, no, it's not for sure. And so with that, I know the statistics, but I'm just wondering if you personally have noticed that more women, do you see more women like sort of struggling with mental wellness issues at all? Like depression,
More,
anxiety, things like that. And then they kind of go hand in hand, a lot of them with menopause too, sometimes. So depending on the
Mhm.
demographic of women as well, for sure, because there's all of those fluctuations. But generally, as a whole, the statistics are like 1 in 4 adults now are being diagnosed with mental wellness disorders.
Yeah,
It's just higher than it's ever been before. And I think a lot
it,
of that's women.
it is. It is. And I'd be curious of your thoughts on this too. But I wonder how much of it is there's so much pressure. Again, that social media thing comes in there, the highlight reel, but there's so much pressure on women, on moms to be a mom, the wife, and everything that that entails, and then a full-time career woman and social life. And like we're trying to keep up with so much.
Yeah, there's a lot of hats.
There's a lot of hats that a woman wears, and then she often feels like she's not adequate. And I'm like look at everything you're doing. You're
Yeah.
a superwoman.
And I think, yeah, I think they have to step back and take a look at it because I think the bar has been set with so many expectations that even though they're ticking off all of these boxes, they don't believe it's as many boxes as they need to be ticking.
Yeah.
But you just can't pour from an empty cup at some point. The cup gets empty.
The cup gets empty and you really can't pour from an empty cup. And burnout is a real thing.
Totally. Absolutely. Um, and then that leads to adrenal fatigue, which plays on the hormones, which causes inflammation, which, perpetuates all of that cycle of the downward spiral. And it makes it much more difficult to get out of.
Yeah. And then you add like sleep deprivation because you're up with the kiddos at night and
Yeah.
yeah, um, brain fog comes in there. And I feel like just a fish becomes a vicious cycle. And
Yeah.
so many women are silently battling through it.
Hmm. Yeah. And well, it's really good that you've got, that you're able to help them through that, and working through that. And I just, yeah, it's just a good thing. So, if you had one piece of advice to give women who feel like that she's okay, that she's too far gone, that she cannot be fixed, right? Like she's broken or too stuck or whatever, what would your advice be? Like your wisdom?
I would say, um, look at it from this standpoint. You're not too much and you're not too late. You're not too little. What if you're actually right in the middle of your story? And change comes, it starts with not having it all figured out, but figuring it out as you go and deciding that you're worth fighting for.
Ah, yes, exactly. That
You
I
are worth fighting for.
I love that. Yes, I think women need to understand that more. They are worth fighting for. They are worth showing up for.
Like 100%.
Mhm.
And so many women don't feel like they have it all together. They don't feel like they're beautiful enough or this enough or that enough. That really you are beautiful and you are worth fighting for. And don't forget it.
I love that.
I couldn't say that enough.
I love that. That's a perfect way to round this up. I love it. You are enough.
Right? You are.
Yeah.
And don't try and let anything else or anyone else tell you differently, right?
Mhm.
It's
Well, thank you. Thank you for those words of wisdom today. And so, if people would like to reach out to you, where can they find you?
my website is inspiredcounseling.ca. You can find me on social media at Ellen Reimer or Inspired Counseling.
Okay.
And yeah,
Awesome.
that would be where you'd find me.
Awesome. Well, great. Well, hopefully, the people who need this hear this, and they will reach out to you. So, thanks again for sharing your words of wisdom and joining me here today. It was a
And
pleasure having you. Thanks, Ellen.
thank you so much for having me on, Tanya. It's an honor.
See you again.